Now, each candidate will have about 1 minute to answer the questions and 30 seconds for follow-ups and rebuttals. I'll make sure candidates get time to respond if they're singled out for criticism. There are no buzzers, there's no bells. I'll just politely inform the candidates when they need to wrap things up. We want everyone watching to emerge from this debate more informed about the candidates, more able to judge who should be the next president of the United States. Now that everyone is in place, it's time for the candidates to introduce themselves to our audience. All the candidates are going to keep it short. Here's an example. I'm Anderson Cooper. I'm usually anchoring AC 360 on CNN, but I'm honored to be here in Las Vegas at the Western Republican presidential debate. That would be my introduction. So, Senator Santorum, you're first. Let's start with you.
Thank you, Anderson. I'm Rick Santorum. My wife Karen and I are the parents of 7 children, and my little girl, Isabella, 3 years old, had some surgery today. She's doing fine, but I just wanted to send to her a little "I love you," and I will take the red-eye home to be with you tomorrow and make sure that you're feeling kind.
I'm Congressman Ron Paul from Texas. I'm the champion of liberty. I am the only one that has offered a balanced budget in a sincere method. And also, I present the case for a free society as being the best defense for peace and prosperity.
I am businessman Herman Cain. I've been married to my wife, Gloria, for 43 years. And I'm a 42-year businessman, which means I solve problems for a living.
I'm Mitt Romney. I was a businessman for 25 years. Then I had the fun of getting the chance to help run the Olympic Winter Games in Salt Lake City next door. And then I had the fun also being governor of Massachusetts. I also solve problems, sometimes for a living, sometimes for other people to make things better. And I hope to be your president. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Texas Governor Rick Perry, a proven job creator and a man who is about economic growth, an authentic conservative, not a conservative of convenience.
I'm Newt Gingrich, and unlike President Obama, I'm glad to be in Las Vegas. I think it's a great place to have a convention. And when I am president, we're going to replace class warfare with cooperation so all Americans can get off food stamps and onto paychecks.
Hi, my name is Michelle Bachmann. I am thrilled to be able to be with you tonight in Las Vegas. And this is one night when I hope what happens in Vegas doesn't stay in Vegas.
All right, let's time to begin. We'll begin with actually a question in the hall.
This is for all candidates. What's your position on replacing the federal income tax with a federal sales tax?
I'll direct that to Congresswoman Bachmann. You've been very critical of Herman Cain's 999 plan, which calls for a 9% sales tax, a 9% income tax, a 9% corporate tax. In fact, you said it would destroy the economy. Why?
Well, I am a former federal tax litigation attorney, and also my husband and I are job creators. One thing I know about Congress, being a member of Congress for 5 years, is that any time you give the Congress a brand new tax, it doesn't go away. When we got the income tax in 1913, the top rate was 7%. By 1980, the top rate was 70%. If we give Congress a 9% sales tax, how long will it take a liberal president and a liberal Congress to run that up to maybe 90%? Who knows? What I do know is that we also have to be concerned about the hidden tax of the value-added tax, because at every step and stage of production, you'd be taxing that item 9% on the profit. That's the worry. In my plan, again, that's a tax plan. It's not a jobs plan. My plan for economic recovery is real jobs right now. I have a tax plan. I have a jobs plan. I have an energy plan and a plan to really turn this country around and create millions of high-paying jobs.
Mr. Kaine, a lot of prominent conservatives now are coming forward saying that your 999 plan would actually raise taxes on middle-class voters, on lower-income voters.
The thing that I would encourage people to do before they engage in this knee-jerk reaction is read our analysis. It is available at hermancain.com. It was performed by Fiscal Associates, and all of the claims that are made against it. It is a jobs plan. It is revenue neutral. It does not raise taxes on those that are making the least. All of those are simply not true. The reason that our plan is being attacked so much is because lobbyists, accountants, politicians, they don't want to throw out the current tax code and put in something that's simple and fair. They want to continue to be able to manipulate the American people with a 10 million word mess. Let's throw out the 10 million word mess and put in our plan, which will liberate the American workers and liberate American businesses.
Senator Santorum, will his plan raise taxes?
Herman's well-meaning, and I love his boldness, and it's great. But the fact of the matter is, I mean, reports are now out that 84% of Americans would pay more taxes under his plan. That's the analysis, and it makes sense. Because when you don't provide a standard deduction, when you don't provide anything for low-income individuals, and you have a sales tax and an income tax, and as Michelle said, a value-added tax, which is really what his corporate tax is. We're talking about major increases in taxes on people. He also doesn't have anything that takes care of the families. I mean, you have a situation where under Herman's plan, a single person pays as much in taxes as a man and a woman raising 3 children. Ever since we've had the income tax in America, we've always taken advantage of the fact that we want to encourage people to have children and not have to pay more already to raise children, but also pay that additional taxes. We gave some breaks for families. He doesn't do that in this bill, and we've seen that happen in Europe. And what happened? Boom! Birth rates went into the basement. It's a bad tax for. Again, it's bold. I give him credit for starting a debate, but it's not good for families, and it's not good for low income.
I'm going to give you 30 seconds to respond. That 84% figure comes from the Tax Policy Center.
That simply is not true. I invite people to look at our analysis, which we make available. Secondly, the point that he makes about is a value-added tax. I'm sorry, Representative Bachmann, it's not a value-added tax. It's a single tax. And if I invite every American to do their own math, because most of these are knee-jerk reactions. And we do provide a provision, if you read the analysis, something we call opportunity zones that will, in fact, address the issue of those making the least.
I want to bring in Congresswoman Bachmann since she was referenced by you.
But Anderson, how do you not have a value-added tax? Because at every level of production, you have a profit. And that profit gets taxed because you produce one portion at one level, and then you take it to the next supplier or vendor at the next level, and you have an exchange. That is a taxable event, and ultimately, that becomes a value-added tax. It's a hidden tax, and anytime the federal government needs revenue, they dial up the rate, and the American people think that it is the vendor that creates the tax, but it's the government that creates the tax.
Governor Perry, in your state, you have a 6.25% sales tax. Would taxpayers pay more under the 999 plan?
Yeah. Herman, I love you, brother, but let me tell you something. You don't have to have a big analysis to figure this thing out. Go to New Hampshire where they don't have a sales tax, and you're fixing to give them one. They're not interested in 999. What they're interested in is flatter and fair. At the end of the week, I'm going to be laying out a plan that clearly, I'll bump plans with you, brother, and we'll see who has the best idea about how you get this country working again. And one of the ways, right here in Nevada, you got 8+%. You want 9 cents on top of that, and 9 cents on a new home, or 9% on a new home, 9% on your Social Security, 9% more? I don't think so, Herman. It's not going to fly.
Mr. Kaine, 30 seconds.
This is an example of mixing apples and oranges. The state tax is an apple. We are replacing the current tax code with oranges. So it's not correct to mix apples and oranges. Secondly, it is not a value-added tax. tax. If you take most of the products, take a loaf of bread. It does have 5 taxes in it right now. What the 9% does is that we take out those 5 invisible taxes and replace it with one visible 9%. So you're absolutely wrong. It's not a value-added tax. Now, one other quick thing.
Your time's up, I'm sorry.
This whole thing about...
You'll have another 30 seconds. Trust me, they're going to go...
Tonight?
Yes, I guarantee it. In about a minute. Mr. Congressman Paul, you called his plan dangerous today.
Oh, it is, because it raises revenues, and the worst part about it is it's regressive. A lot of people aren't paying any taxes, and I like that. I don't think that we should even things up by raising taxes. So it is a regressive tax, so it's very, very dangerous in that thing, and it will raise more revenues. But the gentleman asked the question, he didn't even ask what we're talking about. He asked the question, what are you going to replace the income tax with? And I say nothing. That's what we should replace it with. But I do want to make a point that spending is a tax. As soon as the government spends money, eventually it's a tax. Sometimes we put a direct tax on the people, sometimes we borrow the money, and sometimes we print the money. And then when prices go up, like today, the wholesale price index went up 7% rate. And if you look at the free market, the prices are going up 9 and 10%. So that is the tax. So spending is the tax. That is the reason I offered the program to cut $1 trillion out of the first year budget that I offer.
Mr. Kaine, 30 seconds.
Once again, unfortunately, none of my distinguished colleagues who have attacked me up here tonight understand the plan. They're wrong about it being a value-added tax. We simply remove the hidden taxes that are in goods and services with our plan and replace it with a single rate 9%. I invite every family to do your own calculations with that arithmetic.
Governor Romney, you have your own 59-point plan. In the last debate, Mr. Kaine suggested it was too complicated. Is simpler better?
Oftentimes simpler is better, and I know we're not supposed to ask each other questions, but if you permit, Herman, are you saying that the state sales tax will also go away?
No, that's an apple.
Okay.
We are replacing a bunch of oranges.
Okay. So then Governor Perry was right.
No, he wasn't. He was mixing apples and oranges.
Well, but will the people in Nevada not have to pay Nevada sales tax and in addition pay the 9% tax?
Governor Romney, you're doing the same thing that they're doing. You're mixing apples and oranges. You're going to pay the state... No. You're going to pay the state sales tax no matter what.
Right.
Whether you throw out the existing code and you put in our plan, you're still going to pay that. That's apples and oranges.
Fine.
Yes.
And I'm going to be getting a bushel basket that has apples and oranges in it because I'm going to pay both taxes.
No,
and the people in Nevada don't want to pay both taxes.
No.
Let me make this comment. Let's just step back here. We got a lot of people in America that are out of work. We got a lot of people in this state, 13.4% of the people in this state out of work. We got home prices going down. We got to talk about how to get America growing again, how to start adding jobs, raising incomes, and tax is part of it. I want to reduce taxes on our employers to make it easier to invest in America. I want to reduce taxes on middle-income families. I like your chutzpah on this, Herman, but I have to tell you, the analysis I did, person by person, return by return, is that middle-income people see higher taxes under your plan. If it's lower for the middle class, that's great, but that's not what I saw. I have to tell you, I want to get our burden down on our employers, on our people. I want to make sure our regulations work to encourage the private sector as opposed to put a damper on it. I want to get trade opening up new markets for America. I want to also find a way to get our energy resources, and they're all over the world, or all over this country, used for us. This is time to get America growing again, and that's what this campaign ought to be about.
Mr. Speaker, Speaker Gingrich, you have said in recent days that Mr. Kaine's 999 plan would be a harder sell than he lets on. How so?
Well, you just watched it.
Yeah.